Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to Coffee and Sports. This is the morning show, powered by Wire to Wire Network. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walls. And to my right, I got the man that knows better, Mo Better. Good morning, Mo.
Hey, good morning, Gene. Good morning, chat. Let's get into it.
Bro, listen to me. You don't talk about get into it. Yesterday was insanity, and when it comes to playoff baseball. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of times in sports where sports becomes poetic, where it becomes fun, right? It becomes like something like what happened in this scenario. Last night's Yankees versus Blue Jays game starts off. The Yankees are getting their butts kicked. They're down 6-1. They rally back. It's 6-3. Aaron Judge is up for his postseason moment. And instead of me just telling you, let me show you.
2-strike pitch. Hits a drive down the line. If it's fair, it's his moment. It is. It's tied. Judge has arrived.
Part of this that's interesting, and I'm going to pause it at a certain spot the second time. Part of this that's super interesting is right here.
Two-strike pitch.
One more time. I'll get it for you.
Two-strike pitch.
I want you to look at this high-rising fastball that's on the inside corner. It's 100 miles per hour, Mo. That's 100 miles an hour. It's a ball. It's in on his hands. I don't know how this ball remains fair. One more time.
Two-strike pitch.
Where he hits that ball,
Two-strike pitch.
It is absolutely insane that this ball goes out of the park staying fair. Look at the 100 right here. Look at the 100. That's where that ball was hit. At 100 miles an hour, up and in, he turned on the ball and got it out of the ballpark. Mo, I just need reaction. That is insanity.
It's insanity to a whole nother level. When he cranked that, as soon as he caught it, I was like, this is going to be a foul. He ripped it, and I was like, this is going to be foul. And it got a little bit of air on it, and it hit fair. And I was blown. Like that moment, that was an amazing moment. I told you before we went on live that it's the reason why postseason baseball is better than postseason basketball, postseason football. I really believe that. I do believe that. That doesn't mean it's my favorite sport, but there's a different thing. There's a different intensity. I don't know what to tell you. Postseason baseball is just different.
Mo, and let's talk about the call. The call, I swear, some of these announcers should be paid more money. And let me hear who the announcers for Yankees Blue Jays last night. I just don't want to get his name wrong. Joe Davis. If it's fair, it's his moment. And then it cranks off the foul pole. I remember, as a Phillies fan, I remember the Harper swing heard around the world. Harper, like, it's the seventh pitch of the at-bat. And there's so many different calls on the Bryce Harper home run versus the Padres that sent the Phillies to the World Series. But the one I resonate with the most was It's Bedlam at the Bank by Tom McCarthy from the Phillies broadcasting team. It's Bedlam at the Bank. Harper, never hit a bigger home run. Like, those are big calls, but it's bedlam at the bank. I've never heard that before, but to think about that in the big moment that happened, I thought it was genius. And if it's fair, it's his moment. Because Aaron Judge has not had a playoff moment. Not one. Not any. And the Yankees are lying on their deathbeds. They're down 6-3. There's 2 outs. If it's fair, it's his moment.
Poetic.
And ESPN gives them all the credit in the world. The headline says, Judge home run rescues Yanks as ghosts keep ball fair. The ghost of Yankee Stadium is a real thing. You talk about the house that Ruth built. Ruth, DiMaggio, Garrick, Mantle. The Yankees have a whole slew of baseball gods. This is why I can't stop watching playoff baseball. This is why I'm so upset that the Phillies are down 0-2 to the Dodgers. I'll never forget, and you might remember this one because being a Dodgers fan, you've been on the other side of a Phillies-Dodgers series before. Matt Stairs, deep into the night. I could replay that game for you 100 times and explain to you exactly what happened. It's the top of the 8th inning. Jonathan Broxton, or I'm not sure that's his name, was your closer. Incredible closer for the Dodgers for years. They had Eric Gagne, and then they had Broxton. Victorino, and this is the home run that gets forgotten. The Phillies are down 5-3. Victorino hits a 2-run homer to tie the game at 5. So, obviously the hype is starting to wear down. The next guy gets walked, and Matt Stairs pinch hits. And Matt Stairs hits a ball that I don't know if it's landed yet. Deep into the night. And the Phillies go on to go to the World Series off of the bat of Matt Stairs. But a lot of people forget about the Victorino home run that happened to tie the game.
Right.
Moments like that in baseball are special. They're special. And last night, listen, I guess it's all for none if the Yankees don't come back and win the series. But anybody that paid tickets to go watch that game, it was worth the price of admission.
And like you said, it's poetic when you go, if it's fair, it's his moment. That's going to last. That line is going to stand the test of time.
The Harper one was Harper, the swing of his life. And I'll play that for you real quick because I thought that was incredible. And I'll give you an example of like what I mean. But like, how do you think about this in that moment? So I'll play the Harper one, which is one of my all-time favorites. The swing of his life. And then McCarthy yells, it's bedlam at the bank.
Tying one on, Harper coming up. Not only did he reach the postseason, he's been the best hitter in the postseason. This is the deepest he's ever played. He's one win, and in this case, one swing perhaps, from the World Series. On the 7th pitch, Harper hits one in the air, left center field, back it goes! Harper, the swing of his life! Bryce Harper has the Phillies on the verge of the World.
That's what I mean, the swing of his life. Like, for some of these announcers to be that good, to be that in tune, if I'm watching that game, I don't know if I can call it that smooth. Harper, the swing of his life. It's bedlam at the bank. You got this shit written down? Like, how did you just come up with that? If it's fair, it's his moment. How do you know it's going to, like, that was so clever, so quick. I don't know. I'm excited. I don't know what to tell you.
Look, I liken some of these announcers to MCs. They just spit off the top of their dome. But you, like you said, how do you know to say those words that fit that moment in that moment? That's what makes it amazing.
Well, we got another game that happens tonight. The Yankees will be trying to stave off elimination tonight at 6:00. They play another game in New York. Cam Schlittler, the guy that won their series versus the Red Sox by being incredible, is going against the number 4 starter for the Toronto Blue Jays and Lewis Varland. The Yankees are heavy favorites tonight. Minus 185 favorites. They're even bigger favorites than the Dodgers. And the Dodgers are at home with Yamamoto, who's probably going to be third in Cy Young, over Aaron Nola, who's basically, giving up a home run every at bat ever in his life. I'm kidding. But there's a lot of baseball today, right? Today you're getting 4 baseball games that start every 2 hours. You're getting Seattle versus Detroit. Seattle can win that series in Detroit, but Casey Mize is pitching for Detroit. You have Milwaukee at Chicago. Milwaukee can win that series after a huge win 2 days ago. They've been incredible. They can win that series tonight. The Yankees can come back and tie the series. I'm literally telling you how I see it. I think Seattle wins tonight, wins the series. I think Milwaukee wins tonight, wins the series. I think New York wins tonight, and they go back to Toronto for game 5. And I'm not going to predict the Phillies game. Not doing. But it'll be fun tonight to see some postseason baseball. Perfect night for it, too. Wednesday night, there's no football. The MLB did a good job of kind of spacing out their playoffs to have their 4 postseason matchups happen on a day where there's no football. You don't want to go against the NFL because the NFL has so many casual fans that are just going to watch that over baseball. It's just, that's that. Who do you like tonight, though, Mo? Do you like in all 4 of the games? Seattle's up 2-1 over Detroit. They're playing in Detroit at 3:00. It's basically a pick 'em. Who do you like in that game?
I like Detroit. I think they tie it up.
Tied up, go back to Seattle.
Go back to Seattle, yeah.
And then you got Milwaukee at Chicago. Milwaukee's up 2-0 in this series. Jamison Talion is pitching for Chicago. Is probably their most talented pitcher. It's going up against Quinn Priester, who's pitched well for Milwaukee this year, but this is a throwaway game for Milwaukee, but it's listed as a pick 'em because the way Milwaukee's bats have been.
I'm going with Milwaukee in the series to close it out.
Yeah, they've been incredible.
If your bats are that hot, I have no reason to think nothing will change. I think Milwaukee is just on a great run right now.
If Vlad Guerrero Jr. isn't the hottest hitter in the postseason, Jackson Chourio from the Milwaukee Brewers is. Milwaukee he's been incredible. He's got 7 RBIs in 2 games. Yankees versus Blue Jays. Varland versus Schlittler in New York. Who do you like in that one, Mo?
I want the Yankees to tie the series up, so I'm going to go with the Yankees to tie it up. I'm always rooting for that big matchup, so I want the Yankees to win in advance.
I think the Yankees. I think that the pressure that will be on the Toronto Blue Jays if they go back home for a game 5 will be incredible to watch. We'll see how that plays out. I like the Yankees tonight. And then the Phillies are heavy underdogs. They're down 2-0. They're going into the Lions' den in LA. And I'll say this, Mo.
I don't feel good about it.
You don't feel good about it?
I don't, because the one thing about the Dodgers is with all their talent, with all the recognizable names, if there's any team that doesn't enjoy prosperity, that will find a way to let you back into a series, it'll be the Dodgers. I don't feel good about it.
I like hearing that. It makes me feel better, if I'm being honest with you. If I'm, I don't like that Aaron Nola is the one that's pitching for the Phillies. I would 100% have started Ranger Suarez. Nola, they might give him one time to the rotation and then go to Ranger. and give him another time to the rotation and see where they're at through the lineup, not rotation. But I think that's how that plays out. The thing that's, I guess, most frustrating for me as a Phillies fan is I've watched this team go into the media, and I want to read you 2 quotes, right? Alec Bohm spoke to the media, and he said this. He said that the Phillies are trying too hard. I'm going to read it to you. It's so friggin' ridiculous. Alec Bohm spoke to about his team trying to do too much. There's so much riding on this series, and the team feels pressure to succeed. As a result, everyone is looking to do a bit more than the situation truly requires. I think there is some big spots where I think you're trying so hard that it just gets to you. Everything is so heightened and you're so hyper-focused that you see something and you don't even know why you swung. It just happens. That's the part of the game where you got to try to slow it down and stay within yourself. Everybody just wants to help the team win. I don't want to influence you. I don't. I would like to hear your opinions before I give you a comment on that.
I don't know if they're trying too hard. The Phillies are one of the best baseball teams in all the MLB. I think they're going up against an opponent in the Dodgers that I think they're very equal and match up very well. I can see this Phillies getting back into this series, but I think they faced pressure before, so I don't think this is about them feeling the pressure. To me, it's more about them just not playing their best baseball, but that can change in one game, and you know that.
I think they're soft comments. Thank you. I was waiting. I think they're absolutely soft comments. When you hear a player go, well, the pressure is so much and we're trying so hard, like just making excuses. And I don't even think they're the worst comments. You know, I'm not an Alec Bohm fan. I don't even think they're the worst comments. Steve J, I see you in the chat. By the way, Clayton, I hope the Phillies win 5-2. I think there's no chance they hold the Dodgers line up to 2 runs with Aaron Nola starting. But Nick Castellanos' comments, in my opinion, are worse. He criticized Red October. He criticized the fans. What he said was, when the game is going good, it's wind at our back. When the game is not going good, it's wind in our face. It makes it harder to play freely. We're playing more tight because we don't want to be reprimanded for something bad. I wouldn't say that it drains, but it definitely can take out of your center, Castellanos added. It's super stimulating and euphoric if everything is going for us, but then it's very uphill climb when you can feel that everything is amplified negatively. Like if you do something bad, you're going to get a negative response, so it makes it harder to play freely. If everything is going good, we're rolling, it's a bitch to play here. If you're the opposing team because the environment is amazing, but if we roll into adversity and the tide shifts, we're playing more tight because we don't want to be reprimanded for something bad and playing becomes more difficult. That is the exact quote. I did not make any words up there. I didn't summarize that. That's the exact quote from Nick Castellanos about playing with a fan base that wants you to win and is cheering you.
I think that sometimes players talk too much. I just think that was a long-winded quote. And in that moment, with everything that's on the line, I would, if I'm a teammate, I would not mind if you gave more of a Russell Wilson quote. We're going to do our best. We're going to take it one game at a time. It's a team game. That all those corny lines, I would rather you go that route than basically sling something at your fan base. That's weird. I don't get that.
So what does he expect the fan base to do? To not be as invested? To not care as much? Like, that comment just felt like excuses. Like, the pressure is just too much for me. And everybody asks me all the time why I don't like certain Philadelphia Phillies. I don't like Nick Castellanos. I don't like Alec Bohm. I don't like David Robertson. I don't like Aaron Nola. They're my 4 Phillies that are on my shit list. I've never liked any of them because when the moments get tough, those guys get soft. And that's not what I'm about. Harper's comments, we're not dead yet. We have a pulse. They still haven't won the 3rd game yet. We're playing like shit, but we got to open up. I'll take that. Give me that. We're not dead yet. They still have to beat us a 3rd game. Well, the fans just, they're winding our sails when it's going well, but when it's not going well, it's really tough. What? Anybody in baseball that watched the game on Monday night that's seen the Dodgers run the wheel play. I see CJ in the comments. He said Nick is many things. He's not dumb. When I see a team run the wheel in baseball, I think it's the worst play to run when a team is bunting. And what I mean by that is it gives the runner from second a free look. If the bunt's fielded cleanly, run back to second base. Because the way the wheel works is the shortstop covers third and the second baseman covers first. So if you see both the first baseman and the third baseman charging on a ball, which they did because Stock showed bunt, pulled back, you've seen they were running wheel. When you're running wheel, you can just run back to second base. Castellanos is out by 5 feet at third base. And then the Phillies need to pinch run in that situation by getting Castellanos off the field off of a boneheaded running play to begin with. That he got so lucky to be safe at second base. He finally gets a hit. He tries to stretch it to 2. He's out by 5 feet, and his arm gets around the tag. Thank your lucky stars that you're on second base with nobody out. The Phillies run a bunt, which they should. Lefty in the scenario, absolutely should be bunting. But if they're going to run the wheel, it gives you a free option of going back to second base because no one's covering. I would have pinch run a pitcher for Bader, and I can't think about that. I have to think about scoring the tying run. I don't give a shit if Bader, he said, who would you run for him? Would you not have run for Bader? I would have run, if the situation happened, I run Weston Wilson for Castellanos, and then I run a pitcher if I have to. You can run, a somewhat athletic pitcher and run him for Bader in that situation. You can't run Castellanos there. It's the time run. I don't care what you do. I have him jog. Have Bader jog. But do not jeopardize the tying run in that scenario. Mo, any thoughts? I'm sorry. I went on a little Phillies rant.
Oh no. Have your moment. You was definitely in a zone. I'm not gonna interrupt that. Do your thing. I was thinking about when you said there's certain Phillies players that you don't like. Isn't that weird that we do on our favorite team for whatever reason? There's guys that you don't like, but you can admire them as players. Like I don't necessarily like Shohei, but I know he's a great player. But I'm not. I have a hard time letting go of that whole situation with the interpreter. So that bothers me.
You're not the only one. It's a lot of people that don't like Shohei Ohtani due to this situation. I love watching him play when he's not playing the Phillies. I think he's an incredible ball player. And look, I don't know what happened with the gambling situation. I don't. I can take an assumption one way or the other, but I don't know. But the reason I don't like certain Phillies, same reason I didn't like Bobby Abreu, same reason I didn't like Scott Rowland. I don't like guys that just have this excuse mentality that play lazy. My favorite Phillies of all time have always been guys like Shane Victorino. a guy that will run through a wall to win a baseball game, because that's what matters. It matters that much to me. So I'm hoping it matters. If I play, CJ knows, I played slow pitch softball. If we lose a big game, it affects me for way longer than it should. And I'm not playing at any near of a high level as these guys do. When the Phillies lost on Monday night, it affected me. It affected me. It bothers me. But some of these guys, it just feels like they're looking to collect a paycheck and move on. Castellanos is a guy I cannot wait until he's not here next year. Trade him for some white rice. I don't care.
White rice. It just means you're a true fan and you're invested. And that's how I feel about it. I'm invested. It matters to me. I track. It matters to me week to week what happens to my favorite baseball team, my favorite football team, basketball team. All that matters.
So let's move on. Let's move off from MLB. We talked MLB for 20. That's the most MLB has been talked about on the show for a long time. But it should be. It's playoff baseball.
Since JG.
Yeah, missed him, JG. The Cardinals are fining Jonathan Gannon $100,000 for a sideline altercation with Amari DiMercato. I know you've seen the video. We've shown the video. I would love to hear your thoughts on the Cardinals fining him, on the comments that were made, and just kind of how everything played out. I know we talked about the incident yesterday, but we didn't talk about the fine. Just kind of want to pass it over to you and see what your thoughts are on the fine.
I think I have no problem with them fining him at all. They should have. What he did was way beyond out of line. He, like I said, you're the leader of the football team, and you got to handle that moment better. The way it usually goes is you let the players interact with the player, and they kind of get through it that way. And he was already being talked to by another veteran player, trying to tell him, like, look, move on to the next play, whatever. And then you come charging in there, getting in his face, and you're putting your hands on him. Like, I don't know what Gannon was thinking, but Gannon was being too emotional in a moment that required him to be more of a leader, and he just missed that moment. So I'm good with the fine.
I think that the fine is fine. I honestly think that this might come off as a shocking statement, but I think that Amari DiMercato is probably thrilled that he hit him, because I think if he didn't hit him, he probably cut him. And I think I really just genuinely believe that if he doesn't put his hands on him and he doesn't have to apologize to the guy, he probably cuts him. And that's after a bonehead play like that, no one would that's the best way to get back at him, right? You don't have to hit him. Cut him. That's it. Sorry. Can't make plays like this and play on this football team. Have a great one. Good luck. That's going to affect him a lot more than hitting him.
No, I think you're spot on with that. By hitting him in that moment and making that situation what it was, he becomes a martyr, and then he's almost untouchable, at least for the rest of the season, right?
Yes. I do want to get into a topic we haven't talked about on here yet. And it's a deeper topic. But it's Kyren Lacy. Monday Night Football. They had a conversation. Ryan Clark used his podium to talk about the situation with
I love what he did.
I do too. I do have, I guess, I have mixed feelings. And I'm coming to Mo, the therapist, right now. And I'm asking Mo, the therapist, to kind of help me out and understand how I should feel in this scenario, right? So Kyren Lacy, we remember in our chat, in our Wire to Wire Network chat, we talked about how sad it was that the kid took his life. And, I am still ultra upset that the kid took his life. I wish he was still here with us. With that being said, the news that came out that he wasn't involved in the accident, and that, there was a situation that he was charged and he was 90 feet behind when the accident occurred, and Ryan Clark was making it like he was innocent. He's innocent. Yes, 100%. He is innocent, in my opinion, of what happened in the car accident that ultimately 2 people lost their lives. He was charged with. I still find it like, and this is why I need Mo the therapist. He was still driving up and down, past medians, over crossing lanes, over 90 miles an hour, aggressively. And what they did was, and the Louisiana State Police released videos and records on Tuesday related to a fatal crash in December 2024. Since the incident occurred, Louisiana State Police never reported that the green Dodge Charger impacted any of the involved vehicles. However, all evidence collected supports the conclusion that Lacey's reckless operation of the green Charger in oncoming traffic triggered the chain of events involving the other drivers, ultimately resulting in the fatal crash. That's wrong. I don't agree with that. What I do want is, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm tripping, I don't want to dissolve the fact that the kid was driving 100 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour in between lanes, that recklessly driving. We're making it like I don't think that he had anything to do with the accident. I hate that he took his own life. Those two things can be true while saying I don't agree with the fact that we're making it like the kid's completely innocent. He wasn't completely innocent. So that's where I guess I'm conflicted.
I'm kind of where you're at. He is innocent in terms of the accident where 2 people lost their lives, right? Ultimately lost their lives.
Correct.
But he was in fact driving recklessly, erratically, well beyond the speed limit, and he could have impacted someone's life other than his own. In this situation, absolved of that crime, but still being careless and reckless at the same time. Like those things are true. Those things are true. The way Ryan Clark framed it was like he was completely innocent altogether. And I don't think in that situation, not him, rest his soul, not the police involved. I don't think anybody had clean hands in that situation. You can't, if I were driving 90 miles an hour or more recklessly through traffic, nobody would shake my hand because I didn't actually hit anybody. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
correct.
I'm still wrong. I'm still in the wrong. And I don't want people saying I'm sorry that young man took his life, and I wish he hadn't taken his life. But he was still wrong. That's the best way I can put it. Absolved of the crimes, but he was still wrong in his behavior and in the way he was driving.
That's exactly like where I was at. And I just, sometimes you feel like, I don't know if I feel like I'm allowed to have an opinion. Sometimes I just stop myself because I don't want it to be like, oh, this is the wrong opinion to have. That's why I asked for Mo therapy this morning and just trying to understand a little bit more.
I think you were absolutely allowed to have an opinion. And like even in the chat, Damien said the kid didn't hit anybody. He didn't, Damien. But if you were driving 90 miles an hour through traffic, we're not going to give you a ribbon because you didn't hit anybody. We're going to say you were driving 90 miles an hour and Damien was driving reckless is what we're going to say. And we're going to say, thank God he didn't hit anybody. That's what we're going to say.
I agree. Do want to get into a little bit of a WNBA talk. We've really kind of gotten away from, this has been a very non-televised finals, which is sad. I'm being completely honest with you. Friday night was a very good basketball game between the Mercury and the Aces. Game 2, maybe not as good. The Aces pulled away up 2-0 in the series Tickets tonight are as low as $13 in Phoenix for Game 3. If you're in Phoenix area and the Mercury make the WNBA finals, go buy a ticket and support your team. Like the Diamondbacks aren't in the playoffs. Go buy a ticket and support your team. Tickets shouldn't be as low as $13 for a WNBA finals game. The Mercury played really well game 1. Alyssa Thomas, 1 assist away from a triple-double. Kalia Copper, she's been great in both games. Satu Sabali. Game 2, Jackie Young just went off. I credit that nothing. Listen, if Asia Wilson's going to be Asia, and then you're going to get that type of performance from Jackie Young, you're not going to win many games in Las Vegas. That was a great basketball game by Jackie Young. She scored 32 points. She was 3 of 7 from 3, 12 of 20 from the field. She added 8 rebounds. She was incredible. And that's on top of Asia Wilson's 28 and 14. She's like a walking 28 and 14. So I kind of wanted to ask your opinion of the WNBA finals and if you think Phoenix can get back in this series. You know, they say the old adage is the series doesn't start until someone loses at home.
Right.
Well, the next 2 games are in Phoenix. Phoenix is a 4.5-point favorite tonight. Does Phoenix come back and win Game 3?
I think they do. I think that you can say that they have not have an answer for Asia Wilson. I have an easy response. If you've been watching the WNBA in the second half of the season, nobody's had an answer for Asia Wilson. She's the GOAT. That's who she is. But if Jackie Young is going to do what she does, yeah, you're going to lose. And Jackie Young's a good player. But I'm not coming into any game going, well, Jackie Young's going to drop 30 or more. You're done then. What I would say is this. If you look at Phoenix's lineup and what they've done, the body of this season, and then look at the first 2 games, they got off the good starts. They didn't finish well. I think they're back at home. They get off to a good start, and they sustain it. I think Phoenix gets back into the series. This series is not over. I think this series is going to go to the end. I think we're going to have there's going to be a Game 5. That's how confident I am in Phoenix getting back into the series.
I'm looking forward to more and more from the Aces and Mercury. They play tonight at 8 o'clock. I have Phoenix tonight also. I think Kalia Copper is playing next level basketball right now for Phoenix. I think she needs some of her teammates to pick her up. North Philly's own Kalia Copper. She's local. I always root for her. Always have root for her. She's got that dog in her. Last game, Satu Sabali was there with her, but Alyssa Thomas did not show up. She was terrible in that game. Look, just call it like it is. She's one of the greats in the WNBA. She'll show up tonight at home. 10, 6, and 5 from Alyssa Thomas is just not it. You can't win WNBA basketball with 10, 6, and 5 from her. DeWanna Bonner giving you 4 points off the bench on 1 of 5 shooting in 23 minutes, not securing a rebound, being the tallest player on the court, is not going to work. So the Aces were tougher in Game 2. Just all there is to it. They controlled the rebounds. They controlled the glass. They blocked a bunch of shots. Chelsea Gray was incredible defensively. She had 3 blocks, 3 steals, 10 assists, and then Jackie Young and Asia Wilson were all they needed offensively. Those 2 put up 60 of the 91 points for the Aces.
Look, like Kyle said, they haven't been able to slow down Asia and Jackie Young. But I do think that, like you said, you're going to get a better effort from Phoenix at home. And then the real question will be, once it's 2-1, can the Aces turn around and go, we're going to end this anyway? But I don't know. I will say this. I've been consistent in this. I think you have too. What they did turning their season around in the second half of the season and the streak they've been on and how well they've played, I think all of us said it. We think the Aces are going to find a way to win it all. And I think Phoenix gets back into it. I think when it's all said and done, though, I've got the Aces. I got Asia Wilson being Finals MVP.
Yeah, you're not lying. Something that came out last night or yesterday afternoon after our show. I'm going to switch courses. And this is selfish. This is me being a Philadelphia Eagles fan talking about the Eagles on the show. But it's the top subject right now on ESPN.com. The Philadelphia Eagles, they didn't hold a players-only meeting. They held a meeting between Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and A.J. Brown. And the meeting was Monday night, and they met for a couple hours. Barkley and Hurts both discussed the meeting Tuesday, 2 days after the defending champions suffered their first loss. Barkley said the meeting, which took place on Monday, was a good thing and emphasized that it was not a traditional players-only meeting where all hell breaks loose. I feel like that the conversation was meant to stay between us, but the focus was all about the team, and I think that's a good thing. I would definitely say it wasn't like a players meeting. When you hear players meeting, that's like all hell breaks loose. It wasn't that, but also we're teammates. We're all friends. We're just having a conversation. I personally wish that it wasn't out there, to be honest, but people saw us having a conversation and they got out there. And I don't think we need to make too much of that. I mean, we have conversations all the time. In that instance, it was us three, but I talked to Devontae Smith, AJ, Lane, Malata. We should all be talking. You know what I mean? But I know people are going to try to make more of it than what it is. It's not that. And I really don't want to speak too much on it. Hurts also downplayed the meeting, saying really just teammates being teammates. It's just us talking about the collective, talking about taking ownership for what we can do, and talking about how we can move forward as a team so we can continue to find ways to win games. Barkley, who spent the first 6 years in New York, said the Eagles' main focus is on the Giants. While Hurts added, thank God it's a short week. I'd like your take on the Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and A.J. Brown players meeting.
I'm kind of with Hurts and Saquon. I think they had a real conversation between the three of them, and it might have gone something like, "Look, AJ, you gotta start bitching about getting the ball all the time, man. Just play football. Stop talking all the time. Stop running your mouth." Or maybe they just said, "Look, we're gonna toe the line. We're the team leaders, offensive leaders. All we can do is play our best. Do the little things." It could have been something like that. I'm sure Saquon Barkley's frustrated with the slow start he's had this season. I know A.J. Brown is clearly frustrated with his lack of targets. And nobody's more frustrated than Jalen Hurts. The only difference is Hurts is not vocal about it. He's a very internal person. I actually like that about him. I love that about him. I don't think them meeting and having a conversation, if you want to call it a meeting, is a big deal. I'm with them. I think stars like that, I think they talk all the time. Somebody saw the three of them talking, and it's a story. If anybody should be annoyed, and I wouldn't be as a teammate, but maybe some teammates are annoyed because if you hear a story, you're going to say, "Oh, you guys had a meeting, but we weren't in it because we're not big enough stars," or whatever. Maybe somebody thinks that way. But as a fan, I'm not bothered by that at all. I think it's a good thing.
I agree. The NFL has some, rough matchups to start, but man, they finished strong. Their 4:00 CBS game this week, the San Francisco 49ers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That is a battle between two teams that are winning a lot of football games. Close football games, but they're winning them. Both 4-1 teams. Sunday Night Football this week's the Detroit Lions at the Kansas City Chiefs. 2.5-point spread in that one. You want the Lions versus the Chiefs. Chiefs coming off a loss at home on Sunday Night Football.
That's going to be fun.
Monday Night Football. You have a double tag team edition. The Buffalo Bills at the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta plays much better at home. Buffalo coming off a loss. Atlanta coming off the bye. And then you have the Chicago Bears going back to the spot. And I kind of want to start here when we talk about this week's slate. Chicago's going back to Washington. Last year, when the Bears played the Commanders, the entire season changed for both franchises on the last play of the game. The Bears are winning the game. The Commanders are throwing a Hail Mary, and Tyreek Stevenson is jacking up the crowd. Washington comes down with the Hail Mary. They go on a huge run. They go to the NFC Championship game. Chicago, who was right in the thick of things at that point, loses the game, go on a ridiculous losing streak. They fire their coach. You literally, I think the NFL is hilarious when they do things like this. A year later, let's run it back. Same spot, and we'll put it on prime time. Bears at Commanders. Jaden Daniels is back. Big win over the Chargers. Caleb Williams and the Bears offense have looked a lot better. Terry McLaurin should be back for this game. Who do you like on Monday Night Football?
I'm a big Jaden Daniels fan. I'm probably going to go with the Commanders, but I think it's one of those games where I actually think it's going to be kind of a shootout. It wouldn't surprise me if the Bears won, but I'm going to pick the Commanders.
Clayton, I see your comment. Sorry. AJ needs to stop giving up on the team. He literally cost the team himself by giving up on that 70-yard dagger. He wasn't doing his runoffs. He wasn't blocking lazy routes. I understand his frustration with the offense and Kevin Patullo, but we literally forced him the ball 3 times in a row in double coverage against the Bucs and cost us a 3-and-out. Good comments, Clayton. Damien wants to bring out the Jose Cuervo because I'm reminding him of last year.
Right.
Listen, maybe I'm just an Eagles fan, but I'm taking this Chicago Bears to go into Washington and win that football game over the Commanders on Monday Night Football. It's definitely not one of my picks this week, but it'll be my pick in this ball game. The other Monday night game, this is another real fun one, right? I think Buffalo-Atlanta is a game that just the way you look at it is simple. Atlanta is a tale of two teams. It's the team they play when they're on the road, losing 30-0 to Carolina, and it's the team they play when they're at home, beating the Commanders in Atlanta, scoring 34 points. I think coming off a bye week, your extra rest, extra preparation versus the Bills off an emotional letdown week is going to make for a really good football game on Monday night. Bills at Falcons. Who do you like in this one, Mo?
I'm taking the Bills. You could argue that Jacksonville was like their trap game. I don't think they're going to be not prepared for Atlanta. I think they win the game fairly easy. I think they're going to get a couple of turnovers off of Penix. I think Josh Allen's going to put that cape on and have a huge game throwing and running the football. I don't think it's going to be that competitive a football game.
No one quite circles the wagon like the Buffalo Bills. I'll pick Atlanta to keep it close. I really believe that it's going to be a really close football game. Sunday Night Football. The 2-3 Kansas City Chiefs host the 4-1 Detroit Lions. Well,
I know we've talked about how we didn't know what the Chiefs were going to be this year, and but we said in the bigger picture, when it was all said and done, they were still going to be in the playoffs. I'm still going that route. I think Kansas City, even off of that loss, I think they're getting better. They're getting better, and I think nobody gets up for a game like this because Detroit comes in there with still the explosive offense. You think Spags isn't geek for this matchup? I'm gonna go with the Chiefs, and I don't think it's gonna be a shootout. I think they control that Lions offense. I think Mahomes controls the clock. He is a master at manipulating the clock when he needs to. I think the Chiefs win 23-17.
Listen, I don't remember the last outside of Monday night. I don't remember the last time the Chiefs were in a shootout. Their offense just isn't there. Message me privately. I'll give you any tips you want, Finn. Kyle Evers said the Lions are tough. Bills' run defense is suspect, so if Morris is smart, he'd have Algier and Bijan go off. In the Sunday Night Football game, I agree with you. I think the Kansas City Chiefs bounce back. I think they win that football game. I think Spagnuolo is going to put a lot of pressure on that Detroit Lions offensive line. I think the interior of the offensive line is still their downfall. I do not think it's a shootout. I would be laying money on the under if I still bet. The over-under is 52.5. That's wild. I think it's way less than that.
Yeah.
We're talking about a high over-under, by the way. The San Francisco 49ers are playing at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What do you think the over-under in that football game is?
I don't know. The over is probably 55.
It's 47.5. I still think it's high. 47.5. The 49ers offense is not winning these football games. The defense has absolutely been insane.
Facts.
They beat the Seahawks 17-13. They beat the Saints 26-21. They beat the Cardinals 16-15. They lost to the Jaguars 26-21, and they beat the Rams 26-23. The Buccaneers are moving the ball at a very good rate. When I look at this game, I see it very simple. I think the Buccaneers are going to have the ball with an opportunity to win the game, and the 49ers defense has to step up and stop them.
I think you just called the game that I see coming. I think it's a close football game, and Saleh and company have to find a way to stop Baker at the end of the game. I'm going to trust in Saleh, and obviously I'm biased, so I'm going to pick my Niners beating a good Buccaneers team.
I don't think you're biased. I think the Niners are – I think there's so many times we talk about the emotional letdown. I don't know how the Bucs keep doing this. Last week they won 38-35. They won 29-27 versus the Jets after a blocked field goal. They won 20-19 versus the Texans. They won 23-20 on the last second drive versus the Falcons. Like, the Buccaneers have literally escaped multiple football games, just like the 49ers have. These are the two cardiac cats this year.
They are.
I just think it's going to be a good football game. It's a great 4 o'clock game to get us into the Sunday Night Football game. It's a great game of the week. It's not, you typically see these games of the week. It's like Buffalo, Kansas City, Philadelphia. I'm glad to watch the 49ers versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers as CBS's game of the week. I think it's going to be great. You'll get the number one broadcasting team. You'll probably get Romo. I think it'll be a fun overall game to call. Baker is built for it. It trickles down. Listen, Jory, I'll give you some credit here. Mo, give you some credit here. Chris, if you're listening, I'm going to give you some credit here. I wasn't as bought in on the Baker train as a lot of you guys were, but it's almost impossible not to be now. 2 years ago, his offensive coordinator was Dave Canales. Well, Dave Canales is the quarterback whisperer. He's the one that helped Geno Smith, and then he helped Baker Mayfield. Now he's going to help Bryce Young. Okay. All right. Well, Canales is gone. Baker had a better season last year than he did 2 years ago. Last season, his offensive coordinator was Liam Cohen. Liam Cohen got a head coaching job for Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh, well, Liam, he's had back-to-back great offensive coordinators. Situations. They got Mike Evans. They got Chris Godwin. Oh, interesting. Baker's having a better season now than he did last year. And by the way, I'm not sure if you guys have been paying attention, but Mike Evans has been hurt. Chris Godwin is coming back off an ACL injury. And Mecca Ibuka, he's elite. Okay. Mecca Ibuka is playing better football in the pros than he played in college. Let's give credit where credit's due to Baker Mayfield. He's been incredible with 3 different offensive coordinators, with a slew of different wide receivers. Offensive linemen in and out the lineup, it doesn't matter. The guy finds ways to win football games. Baker Mayfield's played great football. To go into Seattle against that defensive coordinator and Mike McDonald and win 38-35 on the road without Mike Evans, it's impressive. It's impressive.
I've been on the Baker train. Like there's something about the guy. And you look at him and he just finds ways to win. And it's weird because he seems to just be hitting his peak. He's getting better. And he's a legitimate MVP candidate this season. Maybe the front runner. He's been terrific. The funny thing is Baker Mayfield is exactly what Cleveland needs. And yet, they did what they did. And to be the guy that follows Tom Brady, that's not easy. But Baker's built for that. Stepped right into it, took command of the team, and I just think he's one of those quarterbacks that you find yourself rooting for. I've always rooted for him, so I'm happy to see him having this type of success.
I want to make one last comment, and then we'll wrap up. We're at the 10 o'clock, almost 10 o'clock right now anyway. He said, I've been on the Baker train since Oklahoma. Hey, listen, if you were on that Baker train after Cleveland when he played in Carolina, I give you all the credit in the world, Cleveland. I want to make a comment real quick. I don't gamble on sports anymore. I don't gamble anymore. You guys know this. I talked about this multiple times. However, I think everyone should take $25 or whatever the minimum bet is. Whatever they, small bet, nothing that's going to affect you. And put it on the Ravens to win the division. Ravens look awful right now. Probably going to lose again this week. They traded one of their pass rushers to the Chargers. And they went out and signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And it's funny. I looked at it and I was just like, C.J. Gardner-Johnson was on the Eagles in 2022. They went to the Super Bowl. Then he went to the Lions in 2023 and they went to the NFC Championship game. Then he went back to the Eagles in 2024 and they won the Super Bowl. Kyle Hamilton, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, hopefully Roquan Smith gets back into what he is known to do. I think the Ravens, after losing this week, you might want to wait till after this week because you're getting even better odds, will be incredible odds to win that division. They are too talented. I want to make this statement now. I think they'll lose this week. Wait until next week. Put $25 on it for them to win the division. Baltimore Ravens. Look, here's the one thing I want you to think about. The Steelers are not running away with that division with Aaron Rodgers. They're not. The Bengals aren't going anywhere with Jake Browning and Joe Flacco. And the Browns, no, they're the Browns. Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel. I'm telling you. Kyle says they still can't rush the passer. I agree. I think that division being what it is, I would just small bet on the Ravens to win the division. Wait until after they lose to the Rams this week. But be careful because if they win, they figure out a way to win this game versus the Rams. I promise you that the number is going to go higher. I would throw a quarter on them. Your thoughts, Mo?
Nah, I'm not even a betting man, but I'm going to take that bet with you and I probably will put $25 on them because I believe you're onto something. I think they get healthy. I think they come up. I think the Steelers will come back to the pack. If you look at the Steelers, they're not world beaters. They're really not on either side of the football. I think they come back to the pack. The amazing thing about Pittsburgh is every time we look at them, we go, look at their record. Isn't that a reflection of Mike Tomlin again doing what Mike Tomlin does? I just don't think – I don't think the Steelers are that good. I think the division has just been that bad. I do think the Ravens get healthy. I do think the Ravens walk them down. I'm going to put 25 on it.
That's all we got today. We'll be back tomorrow for a little bit more of a conversation. I do have the updated odds, though. I wanted to pull this up for you. The updated future odds for the division. Right now, it's crazy. who do you think the favorite to still win the NFC North or AFC North is still the Ravens? They're plus 100. Vegas knows, man. Let them lose one more week and then get plus odds on them to win the division. Your current favorites to win the division, obviously the Buffalo Bills. The Indianapolis Colts are slight favorites over the Jacksonville Jaguars in the South. The Ravens are slight favorites over the Steelers in the North. The Chargers are slight favorites over the Chiefs and Broncos in the West, even though after losing both their tackles, I'm jumping off that boat.
Same.
The Detroit Lions are slight favorites over the Packers now in the North. The Eagles are pretty sizable favorites in the East. The 49ers are now big favorites in the NFC West over the Rams and Seahawks. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are big favorites in the South.
Yeah, the one that isn't even a debate to me, barring injury, because they've already suffered a few, is Tampa Bay. The South is terrible.
So bad.
It's so bad. Like, yeah, and we're in a quarterback-driven league. They got Baker in that division. They're going to be fine.
That's all we got today. Mo, do me a favor, close us out.
Hey, thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. Make sure you check out all the great content we have at Wire to Wire Network. Hey, guys, go by the Wire to Wire Network Facebook page. Hit follow. Your support keeps us going. We appreciate you guys.
Tune in to Wire to Wire Sports Podcast tonight at 7 p.m. for Bill and Cottrell. I'm going to try to make the podcast tonight. I don't know. It's like a 50-50 right now. If you've been following along, my godfather passed yesterday. So rest in peace, Gary David Walzak.
Peace.
Thank you so much for your support. My plan is to be on there late to talk a little Phillies and give my NFL picks, but tune in tonight for Bill and Cottrell. They're going to be going over a lot of stuff: NFL, NBA, NFL, MLB, college football, and thank you guys for your support. We are signing out.